Even before Republicans take control of Congress, reports today the president's planning to bypass Congress with a massive environmental crackdown. Tighter limits on smog-causing ozone, clamping down on power plants, toxic coal ash, cracking down on states that pollute on downwind neighbors, and restricting greenhouse gas emissions from future power plants. Add in a deal just announced by the president with China that calls for emissions in the U.S. to be cut by up to 28%, while China can continue to increase its emissions all the way through 2030. And the Heartland Institute's James Taylor says consumers should be prepared to pay. Back up a little, James. We cut, they don't. We pay, they don't. This is going to cost Americans. We're going to be paying so that they can pollute. Is that how it is?
Absolutely, and I'd like to back up a lot, actually, not just a little bit. But what we're looking at is China is going to have a business-as-usual scenario. Their emissions are rising by more than 10% per year. So in less than a decade, they're going to double their emissions. Our emissions are already declining, and now President Obama is committing us to much more rapid emissions cuts. These are very costly. China's going to get a free ride, and we're the ones paying the bill, and there's going to be absolutely no impact on carbon dioxide emissions.
Look at some numbers for a second. In the year 2012, America emitted 5 billion tons of carbon. China, same year, 8 billion tons of China. So there was a discrepancy there. They are the world's biggest polluter, and that they will become even bigger polluters in the years immediately ahead.
Right. China right now emits more carbon dioxide than every nation in the Western Hemisphere combined. Now, our 5 is going to stay at 5. Their 8 is going to become 20. This is what we're looking at in the future. President Obama is saying we in the United States are going to pay the economic price to not only freeze, but dramatically reduce our carbon dioxide emissions. And China gets a free pass. They get to continue increasing their emissions, and maybe around 2030, they'll kind of keep it about there. There's not even any cuts in the future. It just means after 15 years of increasing emissions, then they'll kind of keep it around there.
Why did President Obama go in for a deal like this?
I think he did it because he cannot get this passed domestically, and I think if he commits to the Chinese to do something that he would like to do anyway, the Chinese get a business-as-usual scenario, now we can go to the American people and say, we have international commitments. We cannot fail. We cannot go back on our word. I think he wanted to do this anyway, and the Chinese provided a very convenient fellow to make this happen.
So he will implement this. The president will implement this not by a vote in Congress. We, the people, don't get a vote on this. It will bypass Congress with rules and regulations from the EPA and then go to the United Nations for a global climate strategy?
You make a very good point, because Senate approval is required for treaties. So he is going to try to make the moral case that we've made a commitment, when really it's he alone that has made the commitment. And Congress has the capacity to rein in the EPA. So I fully expect the Congress, Republican leadership, to do whatever they can to put a brake on this. And it's not a foregone conclusion if Republicans in Congress have the fortitude and the political will to stand up for the American consumer.
We shall see. James Taylor, thanks very much indeed, sir.